Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Why do I sound so excited? Now today I got a customer that wants a stripe installed on a challenge Stradale. Buono Ferrari. So the owner of the car was scared to put the car under the knife. I went ahead and took the initiative. You know what? I have no experience in doing it, but hey, give me a chance, give me a shot. You know, I won't scratch it. Maybe I will. Now I swear to God, this was the most destitute looking Ferrari stripe I'd ever seen. Mind you, this is an aftermarket stripe, but I've never seen a Ferrari stripe look this way. I mean, I don't know what this guy's thinking. He must be a weirdo, fake millionaire, a broke ass. The stripe started to peel off. It was not tucked in properly from the previous installer. The stripe was absolutely unacceptable. So let's see if we can do a better job and DIY this project and do it actually better than the original installer. First off, let me introduce you guys to my personal slave. His name is Pepe. He does fantastic work. I only pay him $5 an hour. So if you guys are looking to be a slave owner, let me know. I'll put his info in the description down below. He's a good worker. Look how fast he's going. Now the removal process is actually relatively simple. All you need is heat and a little bit of patience. If you don't have a heat gun, a hair dryer will be fine. I recommend putting on low heat. You just want to heat up the film so that it just comes off the car easier. Now another important side note is to not pull the film towards you. So if you can see in the video, I'm just rolling it back little by little, slowly by slowly. There you go. Also, you should make sure that the paint is original. You don't really want to be pulling off film from a car that's not original paint. You just got to be more cautious. Now as you move on to the roof, same process, no difference. Just take your time, just be patient. And then we finally get to the rear end. The rear deck lid is where you get all that excessive heat. And that's why the film starts to degrade and starts peeling. And ultimately that's the reason why the customer wanted to get a new stripe installed. Okay, once you have the stripe completely removed, the next step is to just prep the surface. I happen to use some good old-fashioned Goo Gone, and after it's all clean, I wash it off with some dishwashing soap. But before we go any further, let's make sure we have a few details in place. Make sure you leave at least a 10mm gap here. Make sure the film actually tucks into the third brake light, otherwise the film will lift. And here, make sure there's a 7mm gap and 11mm gap on the bottom. Okay, so the next step is to remove the hood emblem. Now this is a little bit of a pain in the butt. You first need to unbolt the emblem from the backside. You get access to it by going underneath the hood. Now the next step is to literally pry it out. I used a credit card. Now you really want to dig into that corner and just do it very carefully. Do not force it. Once you lift that corner just enough, you want to slip either your dental floss or fishing wire through that corner. And from there, you just floss it out. Okay, great progress so far. Once you remove the emblem, you want to clean the surface area very thoroughly. Okay, after you've prepped the entire surface, you're ready to install the film. I actually recommend cleaning the entire car before starting the installation. Don't be lazy. Throughout the entire process, make sure your hands are thoroughly clean. Now the overall install is pretty much common sense. Now all you need to do is find the midpoint and center it. Just make sure each side is equidistant from each other. Typically for installation, you need two different types of solution. You need tack solution and slip solution. For this particular install, I didn't feel there was a need for any tack solution, since you're not going to be tacking any parts of the car down. So I just went with the slip solution, which is just pretty much soap and water. Use the slip solution to slide the film into place, and it's pretty much just trial and error. If you mess up, as long as you keep the solution flowing, as long as your hands are clean and the film's constantly wet, just be patient with it and you'll be totally fine. And don't get frustrated. And also leave enough room so you can tuck the edges of the film. Okay, as soon as you have the stripe in position, all you gotta do is squeegee out the air bubbles and water. Now you'd like to angle your squeegee at a 45-degree angle, and don't be afraid to use a little strength. Don't be a sissy. Okay, after you're done with the hood and tucking all the edges in, make sure you make a nice little slit for the emblem. Make sure the cut is not too big and that the emblem will cover it. Alright, it's looking good. Now you will notice that unlike the previous installer, we have all the edges tucked in very nicely. It looks absolutely beautiful. Good job, Pepe. Now just rebolt the emblem back to the body. Also use some double-sided automotive strength 3M tape. Okay, and now onto the roof. The same principles apply. It's the same stuff, guys. Now just make sure you tuck the stripe into the weather stripping on the roof. And make sure you clean underneath the weather stripping very thoroughly. Ooh, that roof looking good. Another critical side note is to make sure you clean all the edges where the film will be tucked. Clean it very thoroughly or the film will lift. Okay, now the final part of the installation is the rear deck lid, and that's when things get really hairy. Now this car has some very beautiful curves, but this was a very difficult hump to get past. The film did not want to conform to the body over the rear deck lid. I guess that's what you get for being too thick. Okay, but first things first, let's remove the third brake light. Now you have to remove this in order to have a proper installation. Now in order to get to the third brake light, we need to remove the heat shield. It's attached using a few pop rivets. Grab a 1/8 inch drill bit and drill those suckers out. From here, just remove the light's 10mm bolts, one on each side, and gently slide it out. Okay, now we're ready for the most difficult part of the installation. I mean, it's not too bad if you have a little experience. This should be a cakewalk, but this was actually my first time installing a stripe, so it actually took me my second try. Lucky the seller messed up my order and had to send me an extra piece, so I went to Kinko's and just made some extra cuts, so if I messed up, I did have some backup. Okay, go ahead and install the top portion of the film like you normally would, squeegee it out, and tack it down. The lower portion is the difficult part because it needs to stretch over and into the third brake light area. I recommend actually doing this in the direct sunlight because in order to stretch out the film, you need a sufficient amount of heat. Make sure to leave enough film on the bottom so you can easily tug and stretch it across that area. Use your X-Acto knife to make the precision cuts later on. Do not overstretch the film. You want to stretch it enough where it can mold to the shape of the car. A tip that really helped me was instead of using the squeegee, on this part of the car I actually used my thumbs to actually rub it down. You have to be extremely patient with this part of the job. If you rush, you may crease the film, so please take your time. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you have trouble with the edges, just make sure you use a little heat and just stick them down with your thumb, and you might have to hold it there. So just have to be patient with it, and it will stick. If you guys have any questions, be sure to hit me up in the comment section. I will write you back. Please like the video and consider subscribing. I'll talk to you guys later. Also, don't forget to check out Pepe's Patreon page